to a brand new hour of CBS Sports HQ presented by Canva. Love your work. I love working with Amanda Guerra.
What's up?
Yeah, I'm Jacqueline D'Agostino, by the way. I knew we were working together, and I thought I was in the OU uniform today, like a little Western vibe, a little red, and you shot me down hard.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe it's just not crimson enough.
Okay.
You look like you're going to the rodeo.
Okay.
Which is also fun.
It's the same vibe.
Houston rodeo. You'd be better for the Houston rodeo. We'll get you to Texas. We'll get you to Oklahoma at some point. This Florida girl has been stuck here way too long. Let's talk about Thursday night.
But you know where I did live? I lived in Cincinnati for a little bit.
That's right.
And they are playing tonight, of course, in prime time. We got Joe Cool and Lamar Jackson.
Who are both very cool.
Yeah.
So here's the interesting thing on the line movement in this game. Initially, way back when it opened up, it was 2.5. Ravens now favored by 6.5 in this game, having lost just one game since week 2. So when these two teams met up in week 5, the game went to overtime with Baltimore ultimately winning 41-38. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow combining for 9 touchdown passes in that game. Maybe you want to take the over in this one. We'll talk about that coming up. And how about this? These are the helmets, the uniform the Ravens are sporting tonight. It's actually a matte purple. I don't know if you can tell from the picture.
I like it.
I
think it's cool.
It's only the 3rd time since the franchise began 29 years ago that they've worn anything but black helmets.
Okay.
As the kids say, I think it goes hard. But we're going to ask that here. Let's welcome in Douzable and Bryant McFadden. That's what they say. It goes hard. B-Mac, what do you think of those helmets? Those are pretty sick, right? Also something the kids say.
Definitely different. You know, when you talk about the Ravens, you've grown accustomed to seeing one style of helmet when it comes to the color patterns and things like that. But it's different. Me personally, I would love to see the face mask, instead of being gold, maybe being purple, the same color as the helmet. But I think it's going to definitely hit tonight when you talk about seeing something different from the Baltimore Ravens with that organization since being there in Baltimore.
You gotta say,
yeah, B-Mac. I like the all purple uniforms, but I would go black face mask with the all purple. Yeah, I hear what you're saying with the all purple and purple face mask. I'm a little bit surprised, B-Mac, they didn't go all black. There's something about that all black uniform. You know, as players, we can accessorize that so much easier. It's a night game, Thursday night football, divisional foe. Don't mind the purple uniforms, but the all black, I think that would have done the trick.
Okay, both of you guys were very disappointing in your takes on that because I absolutely love them and I think they're great. So go Ravens in that sense when it comes to the uniform. Let's look at the game though, and let's start with the Bengals because as of right now, look, they're doing much better than they did at the beginning of the season, but they are the outside looking in when it comes to the postseason, and this is very interesting. Their chances, if they win this game, the chance for the Bengals to make the postseason moves up to 50%. If they lose, it drops to 25. Lige, how crucial is this game for the Bengals going up against the Ravens?
This is massive. B-Mac knows this. He's been in this division for most of his career. When you look at a divisional game where you already lost in week 5 at home, like, you don't get too many divisional games. These matter when you're trying to get to the playoffs. So this is a monumental game for the Cincinnati Bengals. And to your point, Amanda, right, they've looked a lot better the last few weeks. Now, there's a caveat to that when you look at some of the teams they've played. When they played one of the upper echelon teams, the Eagles, they kind of got blown out. But when you play the Giants, right, you win games like that, you're supposed to win. You play the Raiders, you win games like that, you're supposed to win. So this is a great measuring stick for the Cincinnati Bengals because Joe Burrow has really struggled against Lamar Jackson. But the thing I love about Joe Burrow, he's been so efficient with the football. And this right here, B-Mac, his pocket movement. I don't believe there's a quarterback in the NFL that has more pocket awareness than Joe Shiesty. He just knows where to place the ball. This throw was absurd. This was a broke down play. Chase Brown runs to the right, and he hits him in stride right at the back of the end zone. Mike Gesicki, he has really showed up big the last couple of weeks, especially with T. Higgins being out. But the way that Joe Burrow has processed and gotten the ball out of his hands, we tend to forget a few years ago, he was the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, but nobody is processing faster than Joe Burrow. What does the old saying go, B-Mac? You never go broke taking a profit, and that's what Joe Burrow has done this season. He has gotten the ball out of his hands extremely fast.
Yep. The bed they're currently sleeping in is the bed they made. And because of that, they have no room for error, which makes this game overly important for the Cincinnati Bengals because they're right now in the midst of a traffic jam of light teams on the outside looking in when it comes to the playoff picture. So they have to win this ball game. And another thing that really hurts Cincinnati is because the first meeting versus the Ravens in Cincy, that was their game. They had that game. Granted, 2 high-level plays from the quarterbacks in that matchup. But if you go back to overtime, remember the costly turnover for the Ravens in the first offensive possession, and you missed the field goal. Conservative offensive plays. They ran the ball 3 times, didn't get anything positive. You settled for a field goal in that moment you thought was makeable, and you missed. And then comes King Henry, who came to save the day. That was one you squandered away, which makes this game even more important because you have no room for error, and you already lost the first meeting to the Ravens. So when you factor that into the equation, this is a tough situation to go in, going into Baltimore, playing against Lamar Jackson, and basically in a must-win scenario, understanding and knowing how slow you got off when the season started in the month of September and October. So they got the dudes that can get it done, but this is a pressure-like situation because we know how good Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, how good they've been at home.
And not just at home, Lamar Jackson has owned the Bengals. I think he's like 9-1 against them or something like that. Speaking of Lamar Jackson, we have, look, it's midseason. Ligier, later today, we're going to talk about your midseason awards. Your MVP right now is Lamar Jackson. When it comes to the odds, Josh Allen has creeped up in there. So do we need Lamar to differentiate himself even more so, or is it just do more of the same?
Just do more of the same. Again, I said this yesterday, when you talk about Lamar Jackson, it's like Burger King. Have it your way. You rule. Like, he can beat you in so many manners. When you look at it, right, he's top 15 in rush yards with over 500 yards rushing. And the crazy thing is, B-Mac, they played Denver this last week. That Denver defense is actually extremely good. And their defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph, said, all week long I've talked about stopping the run, stopping the run. Well, you know what he did, B-Mac? He went out there and had a perfect performance, a perfect quarterback rating. I mean, they do such a good job at being multiple on offense with their personnel. Zay Flowers has turned into a true #1 receiver. He's playing at a Pro Bowl level. But what I really love is the progression from Lamar Jackson from within the pocket, right? 16 of 19 last week, mostly from within the pocket. They kill you with those dig routes from Zay Flowers, those in-breaking routes, but they do it out of big personnel. So, B-Mac, people think you're going to run the ball when you bring in Patrick Ricard? No, they're throwing the ball down the field. So, love what I've seen from Lamar Jackson. And to your point, Amanda, I don't think he needs to do more. He just needs to continue to do what he's doing.
Dead on. Don't change anything, Lamar. Just keep driving the same speed limit that you've been driving. And I don't understand why he is the cold favorite. No, he should be
crazy.
Yeah, he should be on that island by himself, either an island or peninsula, but he should be out there alone because there's no one deserving of being in the same in the same area with Lamar Jackson when we talk about the MVP. And I'll say this, he's the most gifted quarterback in the National Football League. The God-given ability that he has is something that just comes with Lamar Jackson. He's fast, he's elusive. His ability to really do damage in the pocket. Remember, they thought about trying to have him change positions because he was so athletic coming out of Louisville. Name me another quarterback that has progressed like Lamar Jackson when you talk about just throwing the football from the pocket. Once upon a time, that was an Achilles heel for his game. Now it's a strength. So this guy has really dialed in to become a better quarterback. He does everything the right way on and off the football field. And to that's why we're seeing MVP-like numbers once again. So no, it shouldn't be a co-favorite. He is the guy. Just keep doing what he's been doing, and everything will work itself out when you talk about the MVP. But he cares less about the MVP. He's trying to get the bigger trophy. But right now, this is the topic of discussion because he's been doing something that we haven't seen in quite some time, which is consistently dominate year in and year out.
It would be his 3rd MVP, of course, back-to-back seasons for Lamar Jackson. But as you mentioned, B-Mac, he wants the Lombardi. So when it comes to this game here, the Ravens looking to keep cruising. Again, 6.5-point favorites. B-Mac, what is your X factor in this game?
Trey Hendrickson for Cincinnati. He is my X factor because this is a do-or-die-like moment for Cincy. And if they're going to do in this ball game, he has to be the best defensive player on the football field. Now, when you look at what he's done over the last 4 weeks, He has been the best defensive player on the football field in terms of sacking the quarterback. He's been lights out. He's been hotter than bacon grease. He needs to be hot tonight to put pressure on our guy that we just talked about in the MVP currently in Lamar Jackson for his defense to be successful, for his defense to give his offense extra possessions. He's the leader in sacks in the National Football League, 11. His last 4 games, he's had 8 sacks. He has really been cooking. He has to cook tonight for their defense to do something they didn't do the first meeting, which is slow down Lamar Jackson. Because we talked about what Joe Burrow did against Baltimore's defense. Heck, look at what Lamar Jackson did against Cincinnati's defense as well in the first meeting. Because you cannot allow Lamar Jackson to get in a groove like he did in the first meeting. Because if you do that, it's not going to be a really good night for the Ravens in Baltimore.
B-Mac, I like that answer. Trey Hendrickson, 4 sacks last week versus the Raiders. He's really come on strong. But let's not forget, B-Mac, every week we were in defensive meetings, what was the first thing they said on defense? You have to stop the run. Logan Wilson at the linebacker position is my X factor because let's not forget, King Henry is in the backfield. He leads the NFL not only in rushing yards, but in rushing touchdowns. So Logan Wilson is going to be monumental trying to slow down that run. And I talked about it earlier, right? The way Zay Diggs has tore teams up, right? On those in-breaking routes, on those dig routes. Logan Wilson is one of the best zone drop linebackers in all of football, one of the most athletic linebackers in all of football. Now, this Bengals defense has been abysmal. The 2 guys we're mentioning, they've actually played at a high level this year, Logan Wilson and also Trey Hendrickson. So I don't mind B-Mac's answer, but I think Logan Wilson and the effect he will have in trying to slow down King Henry and then also mitigating some of those in-breaking routes and zone coverage will be big if the Bengals are going to pull off this upset.
Gentlemen, I love both of you. I love your work. I want to get a pick on this game. Ravens favored by 6.5. The total 53 and a hook. Most primetime games this year, we have seen the total go under. So, Lige, I want to start with you. You're going with the over in this one. Tell us why. How much does it have to do with the first matchup between these 2 teams?
100% it has to do with the first matchup and how these defenses have been abysmal. You talked about it, Amanda. 79 points combined in the first matchup between these 2. Now, it's interesting that number is ticked up a little bit because it was 52.5 earlier today and yesterday. So it's gone up to 53.5, which lets you know Vegas is thinking the same thing. At times, this Ravens secondary has been abysmal. Joe Burrow would be in MVP talks if it weren't for that Cincinnati Bengals defense. I mean, he cooked them for nearly 400 yards and 5 passing touchdowns in that Week 5 matchup. Adversely, the Bengals secondary has been abysmal as well. Lamar Jackson cooked them as well. So there's going to be a premium on points. And then when you look at the Ravens, 8 out of their 9 games, the over has hit. For the Bengals, 5 out of their 8 games, the over is hit. Give me the over in this game.
I love those trends. So Lige is giving you guys a side when it comes to the total. I'm giving you guys a side when it comes to picking a side. I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens, and here's why. Lamar Jackson, Amanda, you talked about it. In 11 games, he's 9-2 against the Cincinnati Bengals. In those 11 games, he's thrown for 18 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He has a passer rating of over 100. He has been outstanding against the Cincinnati Bengals. We saw what he did Week 1, the first meeting, against Cincinnati. Unbelievable numbers. So those numbers, those trends tells me Lamar Jackson is going to be phenomenal once again. I'm taking Baltimore covering this spread. I'm taking Baltimore covering this spread. Now, if you're a bit concerned with the spread being at 6.5, then of course you can buy it down. But look at what Baltimore has done in primetime games. There on your graphic. These are guys, when they play under the brightest lights on the biggest stage, they find a way to do what they're supposed to do. So you see it 6.5. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to buy it down a little bit just to kind of give myself a little leeway, a little wiggle room, just in case something happens like how it happened in the first meeting. But I'm taking Lamar Jackson because being 9-2 against Cincinnati in 11 games, against Cincinnati having 18 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, we have to understand and expect to see similar like numbers from Lamar Jackson. And if he is rolling, don't forget about Derrick King Henry as well. that's his Robin to who he is as Batman. Those two guys could be unstoppable tonight.
You know, B-Mac, I really thought you were going to take the full 6.5. I'm a little disappointed that you're going to look for it at a little lower price there because you were talking it up. I was buying everything you were saying, but it's okay.
Amanda, I have a question for both of you guys, right?
Okay.
Anytime you guys drive, do you put on your seatbelt?
Yes.
Right, Leger?
You don't got to lie on camera, Amanda.
Oh no, my mom told me the car wouldn't start unless I had my seatbelt on, so I'm a seatbelt person. I understand a little safety.
Just in case something happens, you wear your seatbelt. When it comes to certain lines, I like to buy points just in case something happens where I'm like, I'm glad I bought those points.
I appreciate it. Bryant McFadden, Leger Douzable. We'll talk to you guys soon. Just two of our numerous NFL experts here on CBS Sports HQ. Keep it right here all NFL season.